Hello and welcome to Anthropology 212, Introduction to Cultural Anthropology. My name's Tracy Lutke and I'm the professor for this course. I want to welcome you and we'll just be kind of going over the basics in this initial video. I want to show you our D2L site. I'd like to show you our syllabus and just orient you so you know what the next steps are that you need to take. This is an 8-week course. What that means is it'll go twice as fast as a typical semester-long course. So it's going to move pretty quickly. It's going to be really important that we're all on the same page about what we're doing, what's due when, etc. So our goal in this video is to make sure that everybody knows how to work within the course shell. Okay. So let's start with D2L. Here we are on our home page, and there's some basic information, overview of the course. There's also some contact information for me, including a list of my student office hours. Those are hours during the week, every week during the semester, when you can get in touch with me without an appointment. So you'll see some of those hours are on Zoom, some are both in person and on Zoom. This, of course, is an online course, so I'm going to guess that most of you are going to use the Zoom option. That's perfectly fine, right? This is an asynchronous course. You are not expected to be in any particular place at any particular time. You can make use of my office hours, my established office hours at any time. You can also just shoot me an email and we can find another time. Okay, so you're not limited to those hours, but those hours are available to you. If you've used D2L before, which I'm going to guess that many of you have, but even if you haven't, the main way to navigate through the site is using these tabs across the top. So we're right here on our course home, our home page. The next tab over is content. And this is probably the most important tab. It's where all the course materials are housed. So when we get to our content page, you'll see that there is a table of contents down the left-hand side that provides an outline of all the units of the course. And within each unit, you'll find the materials that you need to access. The readings, if there's any films, video lectures like this one, etc. Okay? So in terms of navigating through the course, go to content, go to the table of contents, and you can see sort of what's happening in the particular week of the course that we're in. So right now, you're in the Welcome Start Here unit, right, where you can find our syllabus, as well as, of course, this welcome video. We'll go over the syllabus in a moment. Starting this week, the sort of substantive content for the next couple of weeks, we'll be talking about cultural anthropology. So this week, we'll be talking about some key concepts. And you'll find within this unit a couple of readings, a lecture, and our first assignment. Our assignment this week is pretty basic. It's just introducing yourself to the class. Okay. So by the end of the week, please make sure you go in and say a little something about yourself. Anything you feel like sharing, it's really up to you. Okay? All right. So it proceeds like that, right? Unit 2, the week or unit after that, which it sort of builds on this first unit about what is anthropology. This next unit is about how anthropologists do their work, right? Field work, how we do research, things like that. Again, same deal. You'll find readings, a lecture. This is a film about an anthropologist. This is sort of a bonus ethical statement from the main professional organization of anthropologists, because we're going to talk about ethics. All the things you need for the course are in there, okay? All right, so that's how the setup within D2L works. Let's go back to the beginning and I'll show you our syllabus. The syllabus and the information in D2L are parallel, right? They're basically telling you the same things. It is important, though, to keep track of the syllabus. The syllabus is important because it lays out the entire sort of structure and content of everything we're going to do all semester long. So it's your go-to place for knowing what we're doing, what we will be doing, what's due, all of that, okay? It also includes all the course policies and things like that. So this is our syllabus. Again, so there's some repetition. So on the first page, you have, again, my contact information, where and when my office hours are, how to email me, objectives of the course, etc. The next section of the syllabus gets into requirements. So the reading material for this course, the vast majority of it will be provided within D2L as either PDFs or links. Okay, so we're primarily using this sort of online textbook. It's an open access textbook, which means that it's free and it's online. So I've linked the specific chapters within the content area, but this is the overall sort of book that we're using. It's called Perspectives. You will be also reading an ethnography, meaning a single authored book about a particular cultural community. This one's called Labor and Legality. It is available through the bookstore. And what I would suggest is that you rent the digital version. It's $10. It's the easiest and cheapest way to access the book. The book has been around for a while, so it is available in various other places, wherever you can get it. We will not be going to that book for several weeks, so there's plenty of time to get it if you haven't gotten it already. And then there will be other articles, standalone articles that are linked or uploaded to D2L as PDFs. You will, as you'll see through the syllabus, be also watching some films. There are links directly to the films provided within D2L. If for some reason you can't access the film through that link, I also provide some instructions for how to find it. They're all available through the Northeastern Library. Okay, so that's our sort of basic overview. And then the next section of the syllabus gets into assignments. For this course, we're going to do some, I think, some hopefully interesting and fun kinds of assignments. Not everything you'll do for this course is going to take the form of writing or an essay. You'll do some of that, but you'll also be doing some other kinds of things. A lot of the smaller assignments are going to contribute to a larger assignment called the ethnography project that's due at the end of the semester. So what that ethnography project is about is each of you choosing a subject and then doing some interviews and some observations about that subject, and then basically writing up what you found through those activities. So the smaller activities or smaller assignments that contribute to that bigger project are, number one, you're going to choose your subject. So I have you doing a little sort of write-up about that. You're going to do a podcast. It's not maybe like a professional podcast, but one of the activities you'll be doing in your project is interviewing. So for this assignment, you're going to do an interview, record it, and then you're going to also record yourself responding to that interview. Next assignment is a photo essay. Again, it's kind of a pared down version of a photo essay. I don't expect you to be professional journalists, but observation is another method we'll be using for our projects. So you're going to take some photos in one of your observation sites. You're going to submit the photos and a discussion of what you saw. We'll spend some time on analysis. One of the things you're going to learn in the course is about how anthropologists collect information and then sort of make sense of it, right? So we'll talk about analysis, and you'll turn in a smaller assignment that talks about, again, what you found, what you learned through your interviews and observations, and what you think the main themes are that are emerging from that information. And then you're going to kind of wrap it all up toward the end of the semester and write up a 5-page paper that talks about those interviews, talks about those observations, talks about your themes, and sort of ties it all together, okay? So in other words, these first assignments are all sort of connected, and you can think of them as steps in a process. We'll talk a lot more about all of those steps as we proceed in the course. And then the final two categories of assignment are, we will have quizzes. These are going to be very, I guess, sort of minimalist quizzes, if you will. We're going to have 3 quizzes. Each quiz is focused on 2 units of the course. And the quiz is going to be one essay. I'm going to ask you to think about what you learned across those 2 units and do some synthesizing. In other words, bringing together the knowledge that you learned from the readings, from the lectures, etc., and writing a little bit about it, okay? Those are the quizzes. And then finally, we'll have some discussions. The discussions are really low stake in the sense that I want to hear from you. I want you to talk to each other. There's not a lot of sort of polished writing that I would expect in a discussion. It's really just meant for a place to sort of talk out loud about the content of the course. And our discussions will primarily focus on the book I mentioned, the ethnography, called Labor and Legality, okay? So you can see here the breakdown of how each assignment is weighted. Okay, I'm not going to go over every single bit of the syllabus because it's fairly long, detailed document. What I will say is I'd really like you in this first week of the course to take a little bit of time and read the syllabus thoroughly. It's going to be really important that you know what's in here because it will sort of inform how the rest of this 8-week session is going to go. It is really important, including that you are clear on all the policies and procedures for the course. So I'm not going to go through them all now. Please read them. I will touch on one, the most important one, I think, which is the policy for this course around academic honesty and AI use. For this course, there is no accepted use of AI at all. So that means you cannot use ChatGPT, you cannot use Grammarly. One of the points of this course, and a lot of other general education courses, is to provide a space for you to work on honing your thinking and writing skills. So because we're really focused on that, AI really does not have a place in the course, right? If you want to work on developing your own voice, how your own writing sounds, and developing your own ideas, your own sort of analytical capabilities, it's important to do that on your own, okay? So no AI is accepted in the course. Again, please read the policy in detail in the syllabus so you know exactly what is expected. All right, so getting past all those policies, we get down to our schedule. Again, this is very parallel to what is in the D2L table of contents. So you can see the same stuff basically in two forms. If you want to look through, like, what's the big sort of direction we're going in the course, what's the overall schedule, look in the syllabus. It gives you everything we're doing for 8 weeks, right? Once you have an idea about that, then you can go to D2L and see what each little component of the course includes, and that's also where you can access the materials. So you'll see that we're going to start this week with our intro, and then with our key concepts, moving on then to how anthropologists actually do research, and then we'll start getting into the key topics of cultural anthropology. We'll do a unit on gender and family. We'll do a unit on race, ethnicity, and nationality. Another unit on religion and health, which may sound like different topics, but they're actually very closely related, culturally speaking, in a lot of places. We'll do a unit on economics and politics, and we'll do a unit on globalization and migration. Like I said, we've only got 8 weeks, so by then we're done, right? The final assignments are due in the first part of March. The course actually ends on March 13th. That's the last day. Okay. Let's go back here. So, content is where you find the syllabus, and again, all the sort of units and materials you'll need. All of the assignments, including discussions, papers, all that stuff, is all going to be linked inside of the table of contents. So you can always access any assignments that are due by going to that unit of the course. Now, you can also access them by going to that specific tab, right? So, there's a tab just for the discussions. If you want to just go look at all the discussions, you can do it that way. And there's a tab for assignments, right? So you can go there and see the assignments, the full list of assignments. Please also note that for each assignment, I've included a handout of instructions. So even as of right now, all the sort of detailed instructions for all the assignments are available. You don't need to go and read them right this second. As we move through the course, it'll make sense to go look at them, but that information is provided as of now. This is where you'll go for quizzes, once we get to the sort of time of the semester when it's time to do our first quiz. Class list and email, if you want to get in touch with one of your classmates, you can use this. The grades is where you'll see the grade book where as you do assignments, I will update your grade and you'll be able to see how you're doing in the course. And we're not using groups, attendance, etc. So those are really mainly the ones that you'll need to use. Okay, let's go back to our course home. And let me just go to content and remind you what you're jumping into in this first week. Like I said, we only have 8 weeks, so we're going to sort of hit the ground running with things due in this very first week. Okay, so we're going to start right there. The main assignment you're going to do for this first week is, first of all, to read a couple of chapters in that Perspectives book. These are introductory. They'll give you an overview of the whole discipline of anthropology, and then more specifically, cultural anthropology, which is the focus of this course. You're going to watch a lecture. I mean, the lecture is me talking. It's not that dissimilar from this welcome video, but I'll be using a PowerPoint and going into more detail. And then, again, the one thing you're going to sort of turn in this week is your introductions, okay? So whatever you want to say, up to you. Go ahead and post that by the end of this first week. All right. Well, I think that's enough for our first introduction to the course. I'll leave it there. Again, if you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to get in touch, and I'll look forward to working with you for the rest of the semester. Take care.